Hey again, welcome back to Daily Dose of Anime Recaps. In this video, we'll be covering episodes 1 through 4 of the series Digimon Ghost Game. The series portrays a world inhabited by digital monsters known as Digimons, alongside plain old human beings. Said Digimons are usually hidden in the shadows and are visible only to a select few among the human society. In the initial scene, we witness rumors regarding unknown creatures known as the Hologram Ghosts being spread across the internet. Apparently, such mysterious and foul creatures have been the cause for gruesome tragedies all over the world recently. Despite all that, human society is still clueless as to what they're up against and who the enemy here truly is. Meanwhile, far away in the Hazakura Academy, we witness a young girl being cornered and then attacked by Clockmon, an evil Digimon who loves to steal away other people's time and ultimately, years of their lives. As a result, the girl is soon transformed into a wrinkled old lady with one foot already in the grave. Afterwards, although the matter is kept discreet, a couple rumors still slip past the net and reach Kotaro, the curiosity-driven friend of Hiro, our protagonist here. The reckless dude then convinces Hiro to sneak into the auditorium together with him. Yup, it's the same place where Clockmon sucked away that young girl's longevity not long ago, and also where he might still be lurking about at present. As expected, the guy had indeed been lazing about in the auditorium. It makes sense because after all, none among the humans, including the police investigators, can see him. That is, unless he's about to launch a fatal attack against him. Anyways, Kotaro soon had his wish of bumping into a Digimon fulfilled. Despite staring death in the eye, Hiro's dim-witted friend shows no signs of horror and is even leisurely enough to click away a few photos of the enemy. Poor guy regrets his stupidity almost immediately, after Clockmon launches a destructive attack against him and sucks away all of Kotaro's years of age. Fortunately, the authorities intervene and save Hiro just when he's about to face a similar fate as his idiotic friend. Back at home, Hiro starts reminiscing about his father's mysterious disappearance 6 months ago. That day, all Hiro uncovered from his father's workplace were a couple of strange devices. Other than that, there weren't any signs of his father's whereabouts at all. Back in the present, Hiro now starts fiddling with the strange device, commonly referred to as a Digivice in the series. The surroundings instantly change as Hiro inserts a USB drive into the Digivice. Hiro is a bit baffled to see his room all sparkly with grass growing all over the place as well. Apparently, some other world has overlapped with reality here. Just then, a hologram of Hiro's father, Hokuto, appears out of the blue. From the looks of it, Hokuto is both alive and kicking in what he claims to be the mysterious digital world. Just then, a dinosaur-shaped hologram appears beside Hokuto. The cheerful little guy introduces himself as Gammamon, who, according to Hokuto, is to be Hiro's little brother from henceforwards. His father then disappears without giving much of an explanation regarding the digital world or the Digimons. Along with his father's leave, the illusionary world fades away, and Hiro's back in reality yet again. To his surprise, although Hiro's unable to spot Gammamon in the real world, he can, however, distinguish the little guy's movements from the noise he makes. Then, after another round of messing with the Digivice, Hiro is able to help Gammamon materialize and truly become able to touch anyone or anything from the real world. In such a state, though, he's visible to not just Hiro himself, but other average human beings as well. As for Hiro himself, he's still busy digesting the fact that he got himself a little sibling out of nowhere when Clockmon busts in through the window all of a sudden. Receiving bad vibes from the intruder, Gammamon instantly lands a headbutt against the enemy's chest. Both are then sent rolling over rooftops until finally coming to a halt at some forest clearing. Clockmon doesn't seem like the type to waste time by dilly-dallying. This is evident from the way he launches his killer move, the one that sucks away his opponent's longevity, right off the bat. The unaware Gammamon is caught up in a time loop as a result, with his longevity at risk of being sucked dry in a matter of minutes. Astonishingly though, the previously fearless Clockmon almost pisses his pants after seeing a glimpse of Gammamon's evolved form through the time window. As it happens, instead of aging like humans, Digimons tend to experience growth by means of evolution. That said, should Clockmon continue to feast upon Gammamon's time for a while longer, he may accidentally trigger a transformation, resulting in Gammamon becoming far stronger than his present self. But then again, he Mummy obviously can't commit the folly of releasing his prey once they've been caught up in the fishnet, especially when the foe is as strong as Gammamon. With confusion written all over his face, Clockmon fails to react to the tree branch thrown over by Hiro. Turns out, the quick-witted kid recognized how all things must experience rapid growth when stuck in the way of Clockmon's attack. Same is the case with the branch he threw, whose growth is accelerated to an unimaginable level and is transformed into a mighty tree within the blink of an eye. Unless he wishes to be crushed beneath the incoming tree attack, Clockmon obviously has no choice except to release his hold on Gammamon in order to step aside. Having attained freedom at last, the enraged Gammamon experiences an adrenaline boost and rushes towards the enemy with all his might. During the charge, a strange connection develops between Gammamon and Hiro, thanks to the Digivice in Hiro's hands, of course. All in all, the connection allows Hiro to deliver commands to Gammamon and help him launch a terrific blow against the enemy. Once the dust settles, we witness the weakened Clockmon slip away after having his clock arms slashed apart by Gammamon's claws. Along with his momentary downfall, all of Clockmon's past victims regain their lost years and youth, with Hiro's idiotic friend Kotaro included in the list as well. Days later, rumors spread about missing people, thanks to them being abducted by some sort of mummy. Hiro too is intrigued by the gossip and decides to investigate after assuming the culprit as yet another troublesome Digimon. Not long after, his efforts are proven as fruitful, since he ends up encountering Mummymon in the museum's restricted area. Ever since his last chat with his father, Hiro's heart has been boiling with the urge to learn more about the digital world, as well as his own father's line of work. Now, Hiro obviously isn't willing to let it slip by when presented with such a decent opportunity, and so he inquires Mummymon about both the digital world as well as his own father, Hokuto. Unfortunately, not only is Mummymon clueless about all that stuff, he also ain't one to laze about and chat with the enemy. Instead, he launches a sudden strike, wrapping Hiro up in bandages, just like a mummy. As for Gammamon, the poor little guy is bound next to a wall and is helpless to rescue his brother from being abducted. Mummymon leaves just like that and takes Hiro away to his wretched and creepy lair, where his past victims are busy moaning in fear and misery. On the flip side, Gammamon instead utilizes his jaws to tear apart the bandages after being unable to move a muscle for a while. He then tracks Hiro down by means of scent and frees him from the Mummimon's grasp using one swift attack. This infuriates the enemy, who pulls out a laser gun from God knows where and immediately goes on a rampage. While at it, Mummymon continues to babble about all kidnapped victims being his patients and how his aim is the salvation of humanity. Turns out the suffering of exhausted humans made Mummymon sorrowful upon his arrival in the real world, and so he sought out a way to save them. What's funny is how the dim-witted dude mistook the ancient Egyptians' art of mummification as the correct way to reduce people's worries and help them attain true freedom. Hiro tries talking sense into Mummymon after realizing how the enemy ain't a bad egg, he's just downright stupid. Sadly enough, Mummymon ain't willing to lend him an ear and listen to Hiro's BS no matter what. Gammamon finally gets caught up in the intense crossfire and is pinned down on the floor. Even while being subjected to an immense amount of pain, the little weirdo can't help but drool at the thought of delicacies such as chocolate. There's nothing he won't sacrifice just to live on and eat more of them together with his brother Hiro. The overwhelming emotions trigger Hiro's Digivice, establishing a connection between him and Gammamon for the second time in history. This results in Gammamon going kaboom all of a sudden and evolving into Betel Gammamon, a much taller and stronger version of himself than before. Soon as he sets foot on the ground, Betel Gammamon launches his newly acquired skill, Sword Shot, upon Hiro's command and ends up defeating Mummymon in a single attack. After surviving the blow, the much calmer Mummymon listens to Hiro's sophistry now that he's been beaten black and blue by Gammamon. Simply put, the mummy dude repents once Hiro condemns mummification as the incorrect approach when trying to save others. Far better to learn being a doctor instead. Anyhow, the dejected Mummymon finally cheers up and leaves after learning of a new way to save others. As for Gammamon, the little dino simply returns back to his base form once the duel is over. A few days later, we witness another middle school student named Ruli engaging in conversation with her friends. The atmosphere turns weird though, once her friends take a peek at the red scribble on one of Ruli's photos. Apparently, there's been a mysterious culprit at large lately, one who pranks people online by leaving similar red scribbles on their photos. What's horrific is how each of the targeted people ends up victim to some tragedy within 48 hours. Ruli doesn't pay much heed to her friends' worries though, and brushes aside the matter as if it's simply nothing. Unfortunately, she soon gets to taste unbridled unveiled horror when playing piano later that evening. First of all, the photo from earlier is back somehow, despite Ruli having deleted it before. Not just that, both of her hands turn invisible as well. The baffled girl seeks advice from another red scribble victim, this one having been cursed with hair that won't stop growing no matter what. Sadly enough, the girl in question is clueless herself and has nothing to offer. Feeling distressed, Ruli curls up into a tight ball under the bridge in a tearful manner. Her situation soon worsens as the fingers from Ruli's see-through hand now lose the ability to touch or hold anything as well. With only an hour or so until she meets her tragic destiny, the poor girl now plunges into despair. It's at that moment when Hiro appears out of nowhere and offers to lend her a helping hand. Standing next to Ruli is Angoramon, another Digimon visible only to people with the Digivice, as well as other Digimons. Angoramon is sort of Ruli's guardian angel and wishes to protect her against Dracumon, the wretched dude who's been causing her misery all this time. According to the fluffy dude, Dracumon utilizes the evil eyes on both his hands to pull pranks upon innocent victims across the internet. Apparently, Dracumon sort of experiments on all these people, the agenda being to search for ways to materialize. Hearing that, Hiro experiences a eureka moment and rushes back home to fetch the Digivice. The boy returns soon after, claiming to help Angoramon materialize so as to better protect Ruli. In the end, all this is just a ploy to force Dracumon out of hiding. Hiro's plan succeeds with Dracumon taking the bait and lunging at Hiro all of a sudden. Unfortunately, the evil Digimon forgot how he's unable to touch those from the real world without materializing first. Same goes for the Digivice, something Dracumon can't touch without materializing first. The issue isn't too big a deal for him as he simply utilizes his Eye of Nightmares to put both Hiro and Gamamon under mind control. The plan is to force Hiro to press the magic button and help Dracumon materialize. Things don't go as planned though, with Angoramon beating both Hiro and Gamamon back into their senses soon enough. It's no use though, as Dracumon can turn them both into brainless puppets any number of times. That said, Hiro hands over the extra Digivice to Ruli, wishing for her to materialize Angoramon and let him protect her. The girl herself is touched after seeing Angoramon fighting so valiantly just to protect her. Upon asking, it's revealed how Angoramon became spellbound by her piano sounds a while back. Ever since then, he swore an oath to be her knight in shining armor and destroy any evil that may threaten her safety. Back in the present, a surge of strength runs its course through Angoramon's body upon materializing at last. Then, upon receiving instructions from Ruli herself, the fluffy guy launches a series of attacks against Dracumon and pins him down soon after. Later on, Hiro decides to let go of Dracumon after confiscating his evil eyes for good. Unbeknownst to him, Dracumon has plenty of backup evil eyes in store. That said, the troublesome Digimon may soon resurface after laying low for a while. For now though, peace returns as almost all of Dracumon's past victims regain their original appearances and health. Halloween arrives shortly after Dracumon's departure, and along with the festival comes the mysterious pumpkin monster who loves kidnapping random teenagers. Meanwhile, Hiro is at Ruli's place, hoping to celebrate the occasion alongside her and plenty of her friends. Ruli teaches Hiro how to turn their Digimons invisible yet again by pressing a button on the Digivice. Afterwards, Angoramon elaborates on the backstory behind the existence of Digimons and the digital world. Turns out, it all began when an artificial virus gained supernormal intelligence and gave birth to various Digimons. Moreover, the virtual world where all those Digimons were first created is referred to as the digital world. From the looks of it, the digital world exists on a plane parallel to reality, with both worlds overlapping from time to time. Finally, random portals appear in the digital world from time to time. As expected, the Digimons who choose to traverse those portals are then able to set foot in the realm of human beings. Hiro's next question concerns Gamamon and why he evolved into Betel Gamamon all of a sudden in the duel against Mummymon. What's even more of a headache is why the little dino then transformed back to his base form soon after. Unfortunately though, Angoramon is clueless as well in this regard. As far as he's concerned, evolution for Digimons is a natural phenomenon that happens over time. Moreover, it's permanent and not something that usually occurs on a whim or can be later reversed at will. Just then, they noticed the lack of presence of a couple of party members. Suspecting a naughty Digimon to be at large here, Hiro offers to serve as as bait and starts strolling alone in the corridors. As expected, he's soon captured by Pumpmon, who wishes to place a giant pumpkin upon his head to make them both similar in appearances. Thankfully though, Gammamon comes to the rescue in time and frees Hiro from the enemy's clutches. To make sure that none of the innocent bystanders are hurt, Hiro switches them all to the digital world. It's a convenient move since damage done in the digital world doesn't apply to reality, meaning that there won't be any collaterals no matter how rough Hiro and the others play. Once inside, all of them are forced to scurry away like little squirrels thanks to Pumpmon's ruthless attacks. All this while, we continue to learn this Halloween dude's backstory. Turns out nobody ever paid any attention to the invisible Pumpmon back when he first came to the real world. Except for when Halloween came, of course. Then people all over the world would celebrate while wearing the same pumpkin face as him, almost as if they were all his friends. From then on, the lonesome dude foolishly swore an oath to make friends by forcing others to wear the same pumpkin face as him, 24/7. Back in the present, Pumpmon grows furious thanks to the non-stop pestering and traps laid by Hiro's party. As a result, he launches a mega pumpkin towards them in anguish. To escape the desperate situation, Gammamon transforms into Betel Gammamon yet another time and launches a fireball at Pumpmon after blasting his way through the pumpkin attack. Being utterly defeated, Pumpmon has no choice but to diligently listen to Hiro's explanation. The kid explains how it's quite inefficient to force others to be friends, especially with them having to wear hideous pumpkin heads all day long. Instead, a far better approach is to simply ask others to be your friend. That's it. Anyhow, with Pumpmon having been enlightened thanks to Hiro's teachings, and all the captives having been released, the Halloween festivals can continue once more in a merry fashion. This wraps up the episode's end, and we're left pondering the various wonderful adventures Hiro and his party may undergo next. Also, what exciting new Digimons may our protagonist undergo next? We'll find out in the next couple of episodes of Digimon Ghost Game. And in case you're a subscriber with notifications enabled, you'll learn the answers as well.